Welcome to the Smoking Word. Welcome to the Smoking Word.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever Smoking Word Podcast, Blackout Records exclusive mashup. I teamed up with one of my favorite labels. They're about to drop a bunch of reissued vinyls for the holidays, so make sure you go get that. Who better to spread the word than us? Listen, we out here. With that being said, let's welcome Gary Kill Your Idols to the podcast. That's, family business, how we keeping it. And Blackout was re-releasing all this stuff. And I said, we got to get down with this and, help spread this word because, man, forget about it. Like, it was a pleasure for me to start with here because the roster already. We both come from, I think, basically very similar backgrounds. And Blackout is special because it's one of the ones that's still from our youth without being the real late generation, a label that basically stuck around. And of course the Roadrunners passed, the Roadrunners lasted, but that's also some other levels, stuff. Even the grassroots levels of like the Roadrunners, which were really grassroots, like we're talking Bill working out of a these guys really on the ground level building something. And I have a lot of relationships, personal stories with my wanting to get signed to Blackout Records as a kid. So
yeah, well, I can imagine because it was when I first got into hardcore, among the first things I bought were the like a lot of other people, the Revelation Records compilation. Exactly. And then there was the New York hardcore Where the Wild Things Are that Bill put out, Blackout put out. And I discovered a lot of bands on just that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that was a way to get a lot of knowledge on bands and what was going on. And it's funny. It's funny. I always tell Paul Bearer this. When the first time I heard Sheer Terror was on that compilation.
Yeah, I
know. And Sheer Terror was kind of like my least favorite band on that compilation.
Oh, but Paul loved that even more. That made it even more better.
But then I heard Just Can't Hate Enough, and I went back and listened to it again, and it was it changed. Like my opinion changed.
Yeah, and when that comp came out, where were you in your getting into this music thing? Because that's an early one for me too. Like you said, it's the same thing. I did, you had the Revelations one. Then this was the little bit more newer one.
Yeah. Where was I? I most definitely still had long hair. I was going to shows at Sundance.
But hold on, but in fairness, back then that was half the scene. Dudes were long, and people try to act like, not like you, but some people forget that the scene back then were half long-haired dudes, but they were the guys that went to the extreme long-haired stuff. You know what I mean? My brother was one. He was a hardcore kid who was Denim and Leather, Venom, Hellhammer back in the day, but then also go see Cro-Mag's Agnostic Front.
I saw it happen like almost overnight. Like a lot of the long-haired guys that were going to Sundance, like once hardcore started to creep in, because a lot of hardcore bands started opening thrash metal shows at Sundance. And that whole crossover happened, and that was just inevitable,
Yeah, for sure.
But a lot of guys that had long hair last week showed up with shaved head and Doc Martens like the following week,
Yeah.
But I held on to my hair for a little while, but I got into that was like I said, Revelation. Like I was into punk rock, like I was getting into like Dead Kennedys, GBH, the bands that everybody knows.
And you found that in Long Island because you're Long Island, so you had that in because I know that's Long Island is its own animal, and Long Island had the punk because it had like almost like a surf scene without having a surf scene,
It's funny you should say that because I kind of felt like I had a kinship with people that were surfers, even though I wasn't one. You know
Like,
what I mean?
look at like Johnny LaFada. There's certain dudes that just it's something in the DNA that's and throughout the years meeting guys from Long Island that were into like they got into the punk part, and the punk part always kind of had its foot in skateboarding, surfing, and Long Island again with the Long Island sound, where you guys also were being the sound that you have was the other sound and the more metallic sound that was getting high, the hybrid, in the tri-state area. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I basically I was really into thrash metal. Like my musical journey was this. At 11 years old, I was really into hip hop, like original hip hop.
Yeah.
Like the old Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, all of that, Run DMC.
That's a lot of us. New York, it's usually the step.
I was into metal also, but I was really into that, and I was trying to break dance and everything else. And I was really young. And then I got more into metal because I started playing guitar. And then I found Metallica, thrash metal scene. All these dudes are wearing Misfits, GBH, Life Sentence shirts. So I started looking into all that. Yeah. And that's really how I started taking guitar seriously, because I listened to bands like that, even though they were great bands, like you could tell they weren't like really competent. Like they were good enough to play that music, but they weren't like, they weren't anyway,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, for sure.
I was discouraged by my limitations, but then I heard Misfits and I was like, man, these guys aren't even as good a player as I am. And listen to how cool this music is,
Yeah.
So I got into.
And when you got into the thrash metal, so you went into from like hip hop right away to thrash. That was your first kind of thing into.
Not right away. I kind of like I was into hip hop, and then like I started listening. Like I think like Judas Priest came out with a new record.
But that's cool. That's still good. That's still like you could still say like you stood on the heavy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with how everybody's journey, but a lot of people went the hair metal and then worked their went up that their way in. I skipped steps because I had an older brother, rest in peace, but he was hardcore and metal, like underground, like Hellhammer, like all the underground shit back in the day. So I skipped the hair metal phase. I went from hip hop to saying fuck that, because I didn't like the makeup, but I loved the sounds. I was like, man, till I saw a picture of Agnostic Front, and I said, these dudes look like scumbags. But I said something about it looked regular. They didn't have no gimmicks. And then when I would hear it, my brother goes, that's them. When I would hear him, I go, oh, I like that. And that's them. Then it kind of like made more sense to me. So for you, again, it was probably Judas Priest, Metallica is a good one and usually a good starter for a lot of people. It seems to be.
Metallica, changed everything. And then Slayer, SOD, Anthrax, and then, But those two compilations, I went to school in high school. A friend of mine, a classmate of mine, started coming to school with like, he was a metalhead, but then he started coming to school with like shirts of bands I didn't recognize.
Yeah,
that was the kid. His name was James Reinhold, and he had the original Gorilla Biscuit shirt. Remember the In Your Face?
Yeah, of course.
Skater on the floor.
I want that now. You know how much it'd be worth? Forget it.
He had all them shirts, and I was asking him about it, and he made me tapes, but the first tape he made me was a Revelation comp, and then I got it, and then the New York Hardcore, Where the Wild Things Are, and I mean, like at that point, I had the Breakdown demo. I was really into Breakdown.
That was my band.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a metalhead, why wouldn't you like Breakdown?
I know. I said, man, I said, sick people. My personal, if I had to make like the caveman or whatever, the DNA of caveman or whatever, in this, like what to me, the New York hardcore, that one breakdown sound thing would be Breakdown, Sick People, specifically that song. That song dropped when people were still AF. You had crossover, and it was still more the punk side. Youth of Today was still punk. The straightest stuff was still punk. Yeah. And then now you got that where it wasn't metal, but it wasn't punk. And it was like, man, it has a swag, but it's more metal. And I said again, which ended up being, I get goose pimples right now. Because to
Yeah.
me, that goes
Oh,
into Raw Deal.
if I hear Sick People, especially the version that's on the Revelation comic,
Yes.
like it still moves me in a way
Yeah.
where I want to freak out. And incidentally, like what I liked about New York hardcore, like especially like the demo tapes and everything, like you know, New York hardcore caught on and the band started going to real studios and stuff. But like the original, like all the early stuff, like there was something about it that reminded me of why I liked hip hop.
Yeah.
And
Gritty.
I just think it's because, you know, hip hop was very real. The lyrics are very real. The attitude is very real. And so was New York hardcore. Age of Quarrel, even though there's a lot of fast stuff on there and it's you know, it's a hardcore record, something about it reminded me of hip hop. Plus the fact that it was on Profile.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Same thing.
It was like
it was a hip hop. That was our like, hell yeah, it made it that much cooler. People don't understand how important a label meant back then. Def Jam, Profile, like, you know, and say, and what would, let me ask you this: first show you ever seen, live show?
My first live, like underground, like a club.
Any show, even if it was when you getting into Judas Priest, or did you see hip hop before that, or it started?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't allowed to do stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and if I wanted to go see a hip hop show, like back then, like my parents would be like, "We ain't letting you go there."
Crazy, yeah.
Like, I didn't. But the first concert I ever went to was Jethro Tull.
Wow.
And then the next concert I went to, I believe, might have been Slayer at the Felt Forum.
That's a little different, huh?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, but in between all that, I went to Sundance for the first time, and it was all local thrash metal bands. There was a band called Testy Fungus. There was a band called The Beast. I don't know if you remember The Beast.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and Indestructible Noise Command was supposed.
INC.
They played.
Listen,
played.
We bumped that demo. They had a demo, and it was Indestructible Noise Command. I even remember the song, and they were like an early band that had grooves. That's why shout out to my OG drummer Richie Nagel. My old drummer for Demise, he was the guy who always got everything. And we went into the groove shit. Me and him were like always into the groove shit. And he was like, you got to check out these metal dudes. They got some good breakdowns. And they're from, I think they were from, New York, right?
Yeah.
Jersey or something.
No. INC was from Connecticut, actually.
Connecticut, yeah. Somewhere northeast.
Sundance a lot. And that was the first time I saw INC at Sundance. I actually had their record before we saw them.
Yeah.
When I would, Pat Egan, that worked for Relapse and rest in peace, Pat Egan. He worked at Looney Tunes on Long Island back when it was called Cut Corners, and you know he lived around the block from me, and I had a relationship with him and his family, and he used to give me all the cutouts, like all the records with the hole punch. And one of them he gave me was INC, and I liked it. And when they played Sunday, actually the headliner of that show was supposed to be Sodom.
Wow,
I'm remembering. And Sodom couldn't get into the country.
Yep, that was a typical thing. And let me ask you, that Felt Forum Slayer show, was that the Felt Forum show?
Yes.
I wasn't there, but Beto, who played with Demise, he was there. I was already going like hardcore shows or whatever, but I remember being like, he said, yo, we went. And he was like, I think we had school. Like we were in high school still or something, but I remember him being like, yo, this shit was insane. They were throwing M80s. He was talking about, he told me the whole shit. And I was like, fuck, I wish I was there.
They were carrying people out. Like there was people up in the front that was squashed on the stage. They were pulling them up and like carrying them off the stage. Like they were like unconscious, like
a hardcore show.
Yeah.
It's funny, like back then, like it's right. It was so much crazy. But
I went from not being allowed to do shit to doing all that.
Too much.
Yeah, like I was scared at that show.
And that was the thing with a lot of people, because it was still scary. You know what I mean? It was still like, I didn't go to big shows. I never went to an arena show till way later. I was already in Madball, because I just never got around to it. But I remember then hearing like, the Slayer was still like, people would go there to wild out. Like the metal dudes that was their wild out night was Slayer. You know what I mean?
The
So
Slayer shows were dangerous. I admittedly, Slayer played Sundance on Long Island, like shortly after that, and I said I'm not going to Sundance.
that's
To see
just too
Slayer.
crazy. Yeah, that would have
I
been
was like,
nuts.
I'm staying home that night. I regret that I didn't go because all my friends went and they all survived, but they all got I would say they
Archie.
probably got crazier stories from that show though.
So
Because
yeah, much smaller, and you had fucking Long Island meatheads, and that was like yours. That Sundance was the Lamores for Long Island. You had your house people there, major acts, and you also wouldn't want to get into beef there because they had you had to leave somebody's world. You know, everybody was from that neighborhood. You know what I mean?
And they had those the bouncers there were they had no remorse, man.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah, I know.
I remember clearly. I think this was a Murphy's Law show at Sundance, which was really packed. I saw a guy floating on the crowd, and the bouncers were on the stage. They were going to grab him, and when he got close, he had Doc Martens on, and he rabbit kicked the bouncer in the face. And when he did that, bouncers came from everywhere and swarmed on that guy like bees, and they took him outside. And I'm like, man, I wonder what happened to that guy.
I saw some of the best shit. I saw it was Murphy's Law, and I think Nausea. And Amy, some dude said, show us your tits or something. And she smacked him. Whap. I remember. It always stuck in my head, though. I was like, well, that was amazing. Like, what a comeback. Show us your tits. She just smacked him. I gave him a good one. I loved it. It was great.
That's good.
And then you're playing guitar. Now, when you got a guitar, did you want a guitar? If you did, who did you see that made you want one? Because you're a guitar guy. You know what I mean? And so it's like, that's like a big thing.
Well, I'm trying to think who made me want a guitar. I mean, going to those early Sundance shows for me was kind of magical. So I would just say that like the whole thing, like when I was going to those shows, I still had the guitar my grandfather gave me, which was like an old, a Silvertone surf guitar from the 60s.
Great.
And I learned on that, and I started playing with people with that guitar. And then when I started going to Sundance, I started seeing what guys were using. Like, it wasn't really necessarily like the metal magazines or anything that did it for me. It was actually seeing people in action, like what they were doing. And then big impact on me was seeing Leeway at Sundance and watching AJ play, and just seeing them play and how they sounded, and Pete from Sick of It All, like he had the SG and just like that kind of thing, even it just comes to mind now, like Mucky Pup. Remember Mucky Pup?
Of course.
Dan Nastasi had a guitar and it had one pickup in it and another pickup was missing, and that shit just made me think. I was like, why is that like that? I wanted to know about all that. Like, how was he able to play that guitar when there's a pickup missing from it? Like, I didn't know anything.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I used to be same thing. I'm not a gearhead, but I was always curious what they're using, because man, they sound great. Why don't we sound like that? As a kid coming up, finding equipment. Did you ever got to catch any of the Crumb Suckers era?
Yeah, I saw original Crumb Suckers back then.
Yeah, so
as close to original as possible. I think when I finally did see Crumb Suckers, I think Mark from Carnivore was playing guitar for them. They had just recorded. They just recorded "Beast on My Back," I think.
Oh, but that's still
finally saw them.
That's still pretty real Crumb Suckers. You know what I mean? They're in those albums and
stuff.
Yeah,
everybody else was was original. He was the only guy that was replaced, I think.
And then, again, because Long Island's very similar to how we came up, but also Long Island has, our scene was like, okay, we had to go to Manhattan. Long Island you could be staying in a bar scene in Long Island, and also the VFWs and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I went to Sundance, and then there was Right Track In.
Yep. Also, you got that. I never got to go there. I was like, I might have got into it right at the end. My first show was in '88, so I wouldn't have traveled till later.
Yeah, I caught Right Track In right at the end too. Like I'm pretty sure I saw like Neglect and Mind Over Matter there.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and I saw Demise at Carol's place on Long Island. Remember that place?
Oh yeah, I could remember because it was like Demise played like 12 shows. I was like one of them.
Yeah, I remember that place.
Crazy.
It was like that was a weird place. That was like out in Long Beach or something.
Oh yeah, we played some crazy. We played Reds, one of my first
I was
shows.
just gonna say Reds. Yeah, Reds. I went
Yeah,
to that place
we
too.
played with Raw Deal during a snowstorm. I never forget that. It was I had it on video somewhere. There was probably like 10 people there, and
Yeah.
then Raw Deal, they had 20 because it was 10 of us with the 10 people.
Yeah.
But it was great. I was like, yo, we got Raw Deal all to ourselves right here.
That's
And
yeah.
fuck,
I do remember that. I remember sometimes I'd go to a show and it wasn't that packed, and I remember saying to myself, like, "Oh, this is great. I got room to move around. This is
yeah.
like it's almost like it's like when you go to a movie and nobody shows up.
Yeah. Until we're on stage, then we're like,
Yeah.
nah, fuck that. We want people in front of us. What's up with this shit, right?
Where the fuck is everybody?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, where is everybody? I'm like, what? You don't want to play on the floor? I'm like, no. It's like, no. So they can run into me and like crazy. But Long Island was the spot that if you did, since they had always had a bar scene, they always had, even if it was a bar, a little stage, a setup, a proper, they
Yeah.
had some proper places to come up in, like a scene, like Long Island. I mean, big enough to have a lot of stuff, and a lot of music came out of Long Island. Heavy.
Yeah.
You know? Did you?
Long Island is, to me, Long Island, I think of Crumbsuckers, Crackdown, In Your Face, which, to me, they were great,
Yeah.
They started off, everybody, most people refer to the demo. I like the demo, but I liked when they got Ernie in the band and they became melodic, because I like that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, yeah, it's pretty crazy because you having coming from like the more metallic stuff, and then later on with other stuff, it's more on the punkish, more on the old style open because I know you're a guitar guy and you would be able to do more, you know what I mean, more guitar work in a different style, but you end up putting like that was your main thing. What you're known for is where the Kill Your Idols and it was more of an open chord, more on the punk, more that old style, traditional style. When I know you could also do the metal, the crossover stuff.
I've been learning how to play guitar. I like when I started playing shows, I was still learning how to play guitar. Like I was still learning stuff, like because I was lazy at first with it. And then my friend Jay Banks came into my life when we were still in high school. He moved from Queens, and he was an insane guitar player. Like I'll never be as good as Jay Banks. And he played in Sheer Terror a little bit. He played in Cause for Alarm, and he played on a couple of full-length records with them when they did when they were on Victory Records. But he always inspired me because like I had nobody around me that was like making me want to work harder. Like I got to a certain level and I was pretty good, and all my friends were like, yeah, that's pretty good. And like I was like lazy about it. And then I met Jay, and like he was like he could play Yngwie shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll play hardcore, but he could play anything. He could play flamenco, classical, anything. So like he made me want to work hard at it. And he taught me how to play lead a little bit, and then I saw him play in Cause for Alarm, and like Cause for Alarm's got like Alex Keenan, that was on the Cause for Alarm AF record. Like he was a great guitar player, and the CFA shit has got lead guitar all over it. And then Jay, I was like, man, I want to play lead guitar too. And then like I just really started paying attention, like punk bands like Battalion of Saints, Verbal Abuse, Life Sentence. They have lead guitar. So I said I wanted to start a band that was punk rock but had some like lead guitar in it. So I had to really learn how to do it.
And there's also kind of nowadays a kind of what do you call it? Eccentric couple of bands you just named there. You know what I mean? Those aren't like common. Those bands aren't on the tip of the tongues of the people today. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting mix.
Yeah, I mean, when I got into so before I got really into like hardcore and New York hardcore, the first album that really caught me like with the energy, like so like I was like way into like Hellhammer and Celtic Frost, and was like that's like my favorite thrash era stuff of all time. Celtic Frost, Hellhammer, and Tom G. Warrior is he's got the best sound and the best ideas. He's not Ingve. He don't have to be. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? And even the very rudimentary, like simple guitar solos he does are like very punk rock. They're very like Black Flag, like very like Vinny Stigma, even
No, for
And
sure. Like rock and roll ish.
but they didn't need to be better than that. Like
Yeah.
they that's what they needed to be. So like
Yeah.
so you listen to Hellhammer and then you listen to GBH, and like GBH has got so much energy and they're so simple. The drums are simple, the bass is simple, the guitar is simple, and it's just it's simple and it's good. It's simple and effective. Like it doesn't need to be flashy. So I
Yeah.
really like that about early punk rock and early hardcore, like Minor Threat, Negative Approach, like like even like Circle Jerks, like Greg Hetson's a really good guitar player, actually.
You're playing guitar, you got the guitar, you already gone to some shows. Now, how did the bug of being in a band hit you? This actually looks better than before, by the way. But
okay.
but anyway, what hits you with the bug? Because I joined the band not because I always wanted to be in a band, but because I heard some garbage on the radio and my big mouth was talking shit on them. And I said, we can make a band right now and kill that. And then my boy said, then let's do a band. That's all right. Let's do a band then. That's the only reason I and they go, what are you going to play? I said, my brother always wanted to play bass. So in my head, I said, fuck it. If he likes it, it must be cool. All right, I'll play bass. So that's how I picked it. I didn't have the in the mirror story, kind of like a lot of people have. Like, what made you want to take it further than just playing in your room?
Oh, like I said, I mean, like anything. I liked music so much. Like I actually used to fantasize about being involved in it somehow, even way back when I was like 11 years old and I was listening to hip hop records, like I wanted to be involved in it somehow, I didn't. And originally I used to draw a lot. So I just thought maybe I would be a guy that would be involved in the graphic part of it, like making the artwork and that kind of stuff. And then, like that's what really got me back into metal. Actually, was I saw a Maiden cover, and I bought an album of Iron Maiden that I hadn't even heard yet, but I liked the artwork.
Which one? Somewhere in Time?
No, it was like Number of the Beast or
that's early.
Beast.
Oh yeah. Early. Oh yeah.
I like the cover so much. I was like, I want to draw that. So I bought it just so I could draw the cover.
Yeah.
And then obviously I listened to it and I liked it. But I wanted to be involved somehow. And then, like I said, when I heard Misfits and realized like the guitarist of this band actually isn't even as good as I am. So if they can write songs this good that I want to listen to,
yeah,
like I could do this. So I mean, of course, the first couple of things I did were garbage, but it was fun, and mostly doing like covers and stuff like that. But eventually, the guy Jay that was in Cause for Alarm, him and I did a talent show in our high school, right? And we played "South of Heaven" by Slayer. We played a Mucky Pup song, and they started closing the curtains on us and trying to get us off the stage. And because our friends were moshing and stage diving and causing so they would just wanted us off the stage. But we walked in front of the curtains. Our drummer was back behind the curtains, but we walked in front of the curtains, and then we just started playing a Napalm Death song that we had, and then then they shut the lights and all that stuff. So we got disqualified, and a band that played that show. That was it was the New Wave kids in the school, and they played a Ministry song and something else. I think they might have played like a Cure song too. And they were actually really good. They were actually professional. They looked like they belonged in the Cure or Ministry.
Yeah.
Like they had the look, everything. They played good. So they won, and they should have won. We got disqualified, but the energy that we had when we were up there was crazy. Like we caused, like people talked about what we did for months after that.
Yeah.
So I mean, we really caused like mayhem. And that night I was like, I want to fucking do this for the rest of my life. This is fun. Who wouldn't want to do this, you know?
Yeah, right.
So that was it. That was where I caught the bug that night. On stage with Jay Banks, and the both of us went ahead to go tour and make records, you know?
So now you're like, okay, you got the bug for this. What's the band now? The band after that. Now what's the band that your first band? What's the next move? Where like, okay, I'm gonna put all my eggs in this basket and I'm gonna start working it. What was the next band? Was it?
I kicked around a little bit, but the first real band I did was Big Sniff, and I'll tell you how I got that band together. Because speaking of In Your Face, that was Mark. That was the singer of In Your Face, Mark Adams.
Wow.
That was Albatross from Ludacris on the drums, played on the first Ludacris record, and Mike Walter. That was in Sheer Terror at the time. That's my connection to Sheer Terror, and he also played on the second Ludacris record. So I had two guys from Ludacris. It didn't start that way. It started with me and friends of mine had some stuff that we recorded, and In Your Face just broke up. So, you know, and the thing was, I was into In Your Face. I love the In Your Face demo, and I was, you know, really a fan of theirs. And to find out that Mark Adams lived 3 blocks up from where I lived in West Babylon.
Yeah.
He lived three blocks away. And then I realized that's the guy that keeps skating past my house with green hair and a Murphy's Law jacket. That's him. So, and then down the block was Mike Walter that was in Ludacris. And me and my friends used to ride past his house and try to see if he would be playing. One time we drove by and he was actually playing bass up in his room, and we hung out and we were listening to him. And then he came out and was like, "You guys like Ludacris?" And we were like, "Fuck yeah!" And he gave us hats and pins and shit.
Yeah,
that was
cool.
totally.
I was gonna say it's cool the days of those bands, like you catching the band, like you listening because you hear them jamming and stuff like I don't think that happens anymore. You know what I mean? Like it seemed.
Dude, off the subject. One night, me and my friends were out in the neighborhood, drinking beers and just walking the neighborhood with our boombox, listening to metal, causing trouble, all of that stuff. And we came upon a house that and we heard a thrash metal band playing inside that house, and they were playing Overkill songs.
Oh, was it?
And there was no singer, but they were playing Overkill songs. And Hoya, when I tell you this shit sounded tight, maybe I was just young and I didn't know any better. Maybe my memory remembers it different. Yeah. But I remember being out there being like, "Yo, this has to be Overkill.
It has to. That's them.
That's them. Like who the fuck could it be?" And we hung out and we waited and waited and waited. I don't remember why we got distracted, but we ended up walking away. But to this day, I don't know if it was a real Overkill or if it was just a bunch of teenagers doing Overkill covers. I have no idea.
And that's amazing, just like that in general. Like again, how you would wait. I'll hear something and you would wait it out. I know this is familiar. It ain't like you're gonna get an alert of where your favorite person is gonna be at, and you know what I mean, doing in stores. Like now you catching them walking to the store and you're gonna follow them back to the studio and hope you see the other guys in the band.
Nobody came out of the house, and there was no afterwards I used to ride my bike past that house trying to see if I see anybody coming out. It couldn't have been Overkill. They were from New Jersey.
Yeah.
But somebody
had to be somebody. Yeah, somebody probably did something.
You know, somebody was fucking killing it in there.
And then where? So where it is? Where you're jamming? That's your band. You're jamming that, and when you're playing in Long Island.
Mark had In Your Face broke up, so I said to my friends, it's a bass player that I grew up with, who was actually the first bass player of Kill Your Idols. My friend John. We learned to play together. You know, he played bass, and I said, In Your Face broke up. I said, let's go get Mark to sing for our band. And he goes, he's not going to sing for our band. I'm like, let's just go knock on his door. Come on. So we went up there. We knocked on his door. He answered the door. He knew John. He didn't know me. And listened to our tape, and maybe you want to jam with us. So he actually let us in, listened to it, thought it was good, and was like, yeah, he's like, maybe we could start over. Maybe we could write some new stuff. He's like, I like what you guys are doing, but maybe we could do something, totally new. Okay, so we started writing some songs, and I was writing in a more melodic style because at that point I had gotten really into Dag Nasty, 7 Seconds, like that kind of hardcore music, and Mark, I mean, this is kind of fucked up, but he took me aside and was like, yo, man, he's like, I like the riffs you play. I like the stuff you come up with. I like the way you write. He's like, I'm not really into the other guys. He's like, what if I told you I could get guys that are seasoned musicians and we could play? And I said, and, I went along with it. And, I always felt bad about it, but I went along with it. And it was them two guys from Ludacris, Alan and Mike. And honestly, that was the best thing that ever happened to me because I was still like 18 years old. And then those guys have been around the block. They've been on tour. They made records. You know what I'm saying? So like and they were real musicians. They were real players. And like, they liked the way I played. And being around them and watching them was the best, was what I needed. I needed like mentors like that. I needed to learn how to follow a drummer that was a real drummer. You know what I'm saying? Like I needed, like, watching Mike play bass. You remember Mike Walter that was in Sheer Terror? He was a sick bass player. Like watching him play bass made me understand what a bass player is supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it made me understand what I'm supposed to be doing as a guitar player. And I figured out that I was actually kind of overplaying and overcompensating.
Mm-hmm.
Less is more. I learned less is more. So, I mean, and so Big Sniff did a 7-inch, and then Mike got us a CD deal with over in Europe when he went over with Sheer Terror. And we didn't last too much longer after that, but that was
introduction. And then right after that, is that the beginning of Kill Your Idols? What's the next move?
The next move was I kicked around a little bit. I played.
I know you did the Sheer Terror stuff in between stuff. I don't know where in the timeline, but I know you.
Sheer Terror sort of happened at the same time as Kill Your Idols, kind of.
Exactly.
I played bass in Clockwise for a little while after Big Sniff broke up. That was a Long Island band, and then Vinny Segura, who had Mint Tone Records, he was in remember Situated Chaos from Long Island? He was the singer. He had the record label that put out the Big Sniff 7-inch, and he said, you got to meet my friend Andy because he wants to start an old school hardcore band,
there you go.
And like Negative Approach. And then, so I got on like a 3-way call with him and Vinny, and somehow we got Ron Grimaldi, long-haired Ron, Death Cycle, on the conference call. And I never met him before, but I'd seen him. I knew who he was because I saw him at Sundance. He was the dude with the hair in front of his face that didn't talk to nobody. This mysterious guy. Now I'm like, wow, you have a voice, bro. Like I never heard you talk. I never even seen your face.
Yeah.
But he was the first drummer of Kill Your Idols.
Wow.
And he wasn't that great, but he kept the beat and we got something going. But then I started another band with Mark Adams from In Your Face. It was called John Henry. Now this was Mark singing. This was Ernie from Token Entry playing drums. And this was Joe Groon, who was the Big Sniff went through a couple of bass players. He was our last bass player. So we put this new band together, similar to Big Sniff, but more actually, if you listen to the John Henry demo, it sounds like a prerequisite to Gray Area.
Oh,
like Ernie, like when we stopped doing it, Ernie moved on and did Gray Area, and Gray Area sounds very similar to John Henry.
Yeah. And what is it that you think about? Is it a certain couple of towns in Long Island that gravitated towards you? They were either doing like fucking crazy metal like VOD or the punk metal or melodic stuff like the Ernies that you got. You know what I mean? A little bit more on that. What is it you think?
I don't know. All I could say, like Long Island, when I was in Clockwise, when I was playing bass for Clockwise, like we played with bands like Silent Majority and Inside and like those bands back then that were more melodic and and these bands are melodic, but they got like a punk.
Yeah, of course, like Gorilla Biscuits, some of them, they had melodic stuff, but they also had, everybody had to have their breakdown, their mosh part, their whatever.
I'd have to say, I don't know, like what the melodic influence on Long Island, I would have to say came from like Fugazi, Gorilla Biscuits, 7 Seconds, like people just into that kind of stuff, you know. Fugazi was big on Long Island. A lot of people on Long Island were into Fugazi.
You know, it has to be the whole college thing. That has to be the Fugazi, the college, you know, that the schools had that independent a little bit, you know,
yeah, that's a good point, because we played a lot of college radio stations, and there was a lot of college radio playing.
Kept hardcore independent music was the college.
That might be it. It's a good question, because it like if it was like if I didn't know any better, most of the bands would have kept being like, you know, the Crumbsuckers and Crackdown.
Yeah,
to me that was Long Island. You know?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Exactly. That's why you guys stuck out. You know, in a time also when everything was getting. It's funny because it was getting more metallic, not to the extent what it is now, but it was getting different or more further away from the punk roots of it at that time when you guys were coming out.
I mean, me personally, I'm into a lot of melodic hardcore. 7 Seconds is one of my favorite all time, and I like all the 7 Seconds. I even like the 7 Seconds where they sort of sound like U2 a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
This is the question that I got for you, because I had this experience. I'm going back to what I said in the beginning with my experience with Blackout Records. You're writing these songs. How did it come about you getting signed to Blackout?
Okay, so I kicked around a little bit, and John Henry broke up. Kill Your Idols was jamming already, but I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna take Kill Your Idols more serious. Like, we didn't even have that name yet.
Yeah.
And we weren't even that good. But you ever have a rehearsal tape that sounds like really good? Like like all rehearsal tapes sound like garbage, and then you get just this one that's like so good, that
perfect mix.
Like, you're like, wow, this could be a demo. That was what got me 100% into Kill Your Idols. We again, we didn't have a name yet, but the music on it was real good, and I was like, man, this could really be something. You know, Andy's got a good voice for this stuff. And I was kind of like, all we really need is a good drummer, you know, like a better drummer that can make us faster and harder, you know? And we did all that. And then I went on tour filling in for Serpico for a month. That was my first tour ever. Came back, decided to put 100% into Kill Your Idols, but I was doing Sheer Terror also. Like, I came back from Serpico, and that's when Sheer Terror coincidentally got back together, and Mike asked me if I would play in Sheer Terror.
Mm-hmm.
And so I you know, and then I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, because he couldn't get you know, Jay was the previous guitar player. Jay was in Cause for Alarm at this point. So Mike was like, yeah, he's like, I know you could play this stuff, so you play guitar. And he's like, hey, you got to find us a drummer. We need a really good drummer. So I got John LaFada to play drums.
That's how Johnny got the.
Yeah, and that's how John got in Madball.
Yeah, because that's why I said, man, if this guy could play with Sheer Terror, you know, there's some OGs, even though we didn't sound like Sheer Terror, I go, and he did Neglect. But I got to see him. I played with him with Neglect, but I was with Sheer Terror to pay attention, because now we were looking for drummers.
LaFada was perfect for Madball.
Oh yeah, he was great. Perfect. That's my man. That's my bro right there.
Yeah, and what do you call it? And I wasn't a bit surprised when the record came out, and it was great, because he's great.
Yeah,
it's perfect. It was a perfect match. But what do you call it? When Sheer Terror broke up and he went into Madball, here's what happened. When I went on tour with Serpico, I had Kill Your Idols demos. We made a Live at CB's demo. I'm getting ahead of myself. So I gave that out to a bunch of people. And Serpico played with H2O in Chicago. And I gave a tape to Toby. So Toby remembered who we were. And Toby actually listened to our demo. And so, like, Bill Wilson, like, I played a Sheer Terror show, and Bill Wilson came and he's like, I understand you're in another band, Kill Your Idols. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you know something Toby told me about you guys. And then so he was like, I want to hear Kill Your Idols. So I had like an actual recording, like a studio recording at this point, that I played for him in a car. And he was like, I have to have Kill Your Idols on the label. Yeah, I have to sign you guys.
Wow,
that's how it literally came about, like that. So it was like, it's like, you know, at one point when I started getting really good on guitar, all I did was play along to music I liked a lot. I would play along to Age of Quarrel. I would play along to Murphy's Law records. I would play along to Sheer Terror. I'd play along to anything that I was able to. Leeway, Born to Expire. That's the record that made me a tight guitar player, because I followed that record to the note.
Yeah, that was my shit.
And like I always, like, while I was doing all that, I fantasized about being in a band that was good enough to open for these bands, or maybe even getting into one of these bands.
Yeah.
At one point. And when I got into Sheer Terror, that was like at that time, that was a dream come true.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe I was on the road with them, in Europe with them for my first time.
Yeah.
Met MAD, and then going to Europe and getting there, and I brought like Kill Your Idols tapes with me that Blackout pressed up, like sample tapes.
Yeah.
But I barely needed them. People were taking them, but I barely needed them because everybody in Europe knew who we were already.
Yeah.
Like, I went over there thinking that nobody knows who the fuck we are. Like, we got there, like, everybody knew who we were. People were coming up to the table with our vinyl that they paid import prices for.
Yeah.
So I could sign it. And I was
So how that must have felt, having, again, the reason why I say that, because as a kid, with my first band, when Demise was trying to get signed early, I said, oh, we got to go for Blackout. And we wrote, we sent them the demo. And shout out to Black. I always would say this because I never forget it. The only people that wrote us back was actually Metal Blade wrote us back. Metal Blade and Blackout, but Bill wrote us back. This was early Demise. And even, I think, even maybe right before even our real demo, our first demo, it was like probably rehearsals. I don't even remember, but he was like, yo, right now, more or less, right now we're good. Like, we have a full roster, but yo, keep us posted, But I remember being like, wow, he didn't just shit on us. Like, not like ignore us. Like, I felt like, okay, yo, he didn't, like, we belong here. We just gotta, we gotta come with something else. And then fast forward, meeting him, Raw Deal, my favorite band probably ever, along with so many of the other Blackout bands. But then, we become friends. And Bill grew up with him and my brother were friends too. My brother grew up with the Alleyway early on. So I knew about Bill. And then when I knew about the label, my brother was in the military. Oh, that's Bill, blah, blah, blah. He came up from, Westchester with the Raw Deal guys and the Breakdown guys. And then, so I kind of knew the history before he knew I knew. So I was like, but Blackout was the one, like, what I love about Blackout is that, man, they fucking lasted. Like, even when it quieted out, there was always Blackout there's certain labels that still, like, people will bring up a Victory Records, and I hear a Blackout. Yeah. It's like, I guess they got enough variety, in the rosters that, there's enough different styles in the roster to be like, give it life for so long,
He's got some good records that he put out, and that, I mean, like, for instance, around the time I started Kill Your Idols, like, we played with like I said, the band Serpico I filled in for played with H2O. Saw H2O, I thought they were awesome, and I think Madball might have played that show too. It was at the Fireside Bowl.
Yeah, probably. Probably that's time, because I played there like a handful of times, and that sounds like easily very familiar,
Yeah. So and I remember, I wasn't familiar with H2O other than that show and that I had heard of them. You know what I'm saying? And then when I got back and I talked to Andy, I said, I gave a tape to Toby from H2O, and Andy was like, oh wow, that's sick. He's like, you know how much I love H2O? And I was like, oh, really? I was like, I heard of them. I haven't heard them yet.
Yeah.
They started playing me the 7-inch and the first album. And, that's right up my alley. That's a melodic hardcore, and I was like, I can't believe I slept on this band. Like holy shit. And then Toby started calling us. Like,
you guys,
hey, we want to play a show with you. And then H2O got us a show at Tramps, and that was our record release show. Like, H2O did a lot for us, what I'm saying? Like they really did. And that first H2O record on Blackout, that
shit was the groundbreaker, you know what I mean? For
that's
sure.
That's up there in the gallery of, like, most influential hardcore records.
Yeah, for sure. What I love, that was our West Coast, the East Coast answer to the West Coast melodic band. You know, we had H2O, you know, like for our melodic guys, like, and whatever. Now, and let me ask you, this is the cool thing that they're dropping now, is what I love, because also having, you know, a roster full of OGs and whatever, and now is probably the best time than ever that a lot of the reissues are dropping. That's why when I heard about this whole thing, I said, wow, look, people always dropping reissues, but for some reason now seems like the right time, because people, I think also the younger generation, you know, they don't need the older generation, but their antennas are open to, if there's stuff out there, they will get it and look for it. And I'm glad that this stuff is coming out, because you know what's making the comeback are the reissue vinyls, the cassette tapes, a big comeback. And it's important.
The kids, like, there's all sorts of new bands right now that are, you know, that are big and can headline their own shows. Like, they don't even need to like open for older bands. Like, they got their own thing going on right now. Like, but I gotta tell you, like, a lot of the kids that are into these new bands still do their homework, and they want to hear the older bands that these bands are influenced by. And it's crazy. We Flat Spot Records put out
shout out to Flat Spot.
Shout out to Flat Spot. They put out a record with Kill Your Idols and a band from Long Island called Rule Them All. And I gotta tell you, like, just from those two, there was two new songs. The first two songs Kill Your Idols wrote since, I don't know, 2005. You know, like, we haven't written anything new since then, 2006 maybe. And those two songs have gotten us so much press, and our Spotify numbers jumped up from those two songs. Like you wouldn't believe. It's crazy. It was. I started doing a lot of podcasts. Like, you know, like, the press was crazy just for them two songs.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of younger people getting into us, and that's what's promising, you know.
Yeah, no, for
older stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. But exactly, and specifically, we're like with this type of thing. With what I'm glad about, the like vinyls, like, you know, having vinyls now, people could touch things again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, our era has. You can hang this up. You don't even got to you don't need a record player. Hang it up. You'll be able to touch it. You could pass it around. You know what I mean? It's like, how what the vinyls that they're putting out now, like, how did that come about? Like, when it came about, like, or like, how much involvement were you with laying it out, or was stuff pressed, kind of repressed, like, from the original stuff?
Bill and I worked really hard together on this. And, the starting point of it was when Bill did the Sheer Terror box set. He did like the Bulldog box, where it's really, I mean, it's all the vinyl inside a box, comes with a backpack.
We're gonna, and by the way, everybody out there, we're gonna have a lot of blackout boxing and showing a lot of stuff, because the holidays, there's a lot of new dope stuff I saw that Blackout has dropping. So everybody stay tuned and look out for that. We're gonna be showing a bunch of new stuff anyway.
He did that, and then I hadn't talked to Bill in a while. Like, I ran into him at a couple of places, but I hadn't really, like, so I called. We talked, and I said, hey, that Bulldog box. Oh, I got my copy in the mail. He sent me a copy of it. Like, I guess he considered me a member of the band.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't play on any of that. Stuff, but at least I got a copy, and it was beautiful. And I was like, hey, Bill, you got to release the Kill Your Idol stuff like this. That would be great. And we decided not to do a box like that anyway, because it's too expensive. But
yes,
and then he did the Outburst reissues, and that's when that's when, like, it caught on that he was kind of like re-releasing stuff, you know, and that the momentum came from that.
Yeah.
So, you know, we did work intensively on this. We remastered everything. I had to sit and listen to stuff closely. I had the laptop that I was talking to you on before.
Yeah.
I didn't have one, and Bill sent me this one in the mail. This is an old one that he doesn't use anymore. He sent it to me so I would be able to look at all the mechanicals of the. Shout
out to Bill Wells coming through. And by the way, Gator, but let's show that. Let's put that video up. Let's show what he's talking about right now. Yeah, no, really cool. I was glad he's doing it, and I'm waiting for mines. Right here, we got this. So all this artwork and stuff is stuff that you read because I know from the logos and stuff, but so this is stuff that you laid out.
Yeah, I redid the fonts. Like I wanted the fonts to be a little bit better. Like, you know, like that was Bill's idea. Bill, like the original fonts on the, like, especially This Is Just the Beginning.
Yeah.
It was like the impact font. And Bill was like, let's get rid of that impact font because Donald Trump uses that font. So I was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. But we adopted the old English kind of lettering.
Uh-huh.
That was Paul Delaney's idea.
Shout out to Paul Delaney, the secret weapon out there.
Yeah. So I said let's keep it consistent with the logo Paul came up with. So
now let me ask you. So that was the first thing. That was number one dropped. What was the out of everything you have up? What's the order?
So This Is Just the Beginning was the first EP we did for Blackout.
Okay, that's the first one.
Bill included a 12-inch that we recorded on a other label, None of the Above, like when we first started.
And that's on this right now. When they get this, that's going to be on there.
That's on side B.
Okay, so that's a lot of tracks I saw also.
Yeah, no gimmicks needed is our first full length actually for Blackout.
And that layout is dope, by the way. I like that shit with the letters and just how you have the logo like that. It's real cool.
Thank you. He that was our first full length. He added, like, we did a split 7-inch with Crime in Stereo many years ago. He took the 2 songs from that and he put them on No Gimmicks Needed. So No Gimmicks Needed is a little longer than the original. Got you. The live record, live at CBGB, that originally came out on Creep Records, but Bill took it over, like Creep licensed it to him. So we did it that way so it would be more complete. So it would be like a 3, we could release 3 records, Now
I'm gonna end up having this stuff. I'm getting some of this stuff. So I'm gonna be showing on the other shows throughout the months, throughout the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna be showing your records and all that stuff. And on the insides, what did you do for the inserts on these things? You might. I don't know if you have a copy there. But yeah, what you have any? Did you lay out the inserts? Are there photos in some of these, or how did you lay it out? Just lyrics, or what?
Yeah, there's. I went over. Bill sent me a file. He sent me files. That's why he sent me this laptop, so I'd be able to look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
I told him my desktop computer was running really slow, so I couldn't open files on it, all of that stuff. So he sent me this computer so I would be able to look at the original files that he had of the lyrics and stuff. And we decided like the thank you lists are outdated at this point, it's all old heads, and let's remove some of this. Some of the lyrics had misspellings, so we fixed it, that kind of stuff. But I went over all of that with a fine-tooth comb. I capitalized letters that was supposed to be capitalized, fixed grammar. I did all sorts.
Got you. And you basically, so you did that with all of them. You basically just tightened up ship on everything, or did you try something new on any of the other ones?
It's just tightened everything up. Just adjusted the fonts a little bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think these look better than the original.
And they look great. And what's the deal with the vinyl itself?
It's all different variants. I lost track of what's going on because
tell me some colors. I wish we had. We don't got no samples yet, but we're getting, because I love all of that stuff. Like the color. I don't care what color it is, but what are some of that? What do you have, the swirl stuff or anything specific?
You name it, Bill did it with this. Cortex has their own variant. Bridge 9 has their own variant. Rev HQ has their own variant. Generation Records does, and then. Yeah. He's got at least 2 versions of each of these releases that he did. So I can't even keep track of it. I don't even remember what he did.
And all these vinyls, where they're gonna be able to get them? Is there just one spot they're gonna be able to get them through? What's the deal? How you're laying it out? Obviously through Blackout. Everybody, you already know the deal. This is a label that's been holding it down for years. So I don't gotta introduce them. I want to thank Blackout for giving me music to listen to all these years. But definitely go to Blackout.
All the variants are there. There's a direct link for this.
And this is out right now, right?
Yes. And like I said, there's a Creep Records variant. There's Generation got their own variant. Bridge 9, Rev HQ, Cortex for Europe.
Yeah.
They all got their own. It's crazy. It's all every single one looks beautiful. All of the variants look
So they're
beautiful.
all, yeah, exactly. And these are the ones that were able to get through the blackout.com. Are these three correct?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
are you, let me ask you, are you dropping merch with that too? Or you just dropping the vinyls and stuff?
Just the vinyls. That's all we have it right now is the vinyl.
And how long did it take you to set up? All right, when you decided to do this, did you do it with knowing you were going to do all three or one at a time? How did it come up?
Like I said, we were originally going to do a box set, and we decided not to do it as a box. And then we had the idea maybe to at least come up with like a sleeve that like all three records could fit in.
That would have been, yeah, cool.
If you bought all three records, they'd all be in that sleeve. But
yeah,
I don't know, that kind of fell off too. So it's just the three records that are available. Yeah, and I'm glad that, like, I mean, all of this stuff is available on the internet. You can go to Spotify, YouTube, wherever. It's all there. But I'm glad that this stuff is finally available as a physical copy now. Because like we were talking about before, a lot of the younger kids are looking for this vinyl now.
Yeah, no. This is a spot. If you're gonna get the vinyl, you got to start with the blackout one. It's really the one you got to get, because just for the to right now, everybody, a lot of the newer generations are nostalgic, and I don't even like saying that. They're just doing their homework and what's going on with it. Why go somewhere else when you got the well that supplied that water still with fresh water? You know what I mean? That's why I say, this is how it got. I go, I get excited when I heard about all these re-releases. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, finally, I actually might spend money, but Bill better lace me. But anyway, I was like, no, but this is what is something tangible. This goes up in the studio. This goes up with all right bands that are classic bands, also doing my part, supporting the bands, my friends, doing all of that, and also getting something. Again, downloads are cool, but you can't hang that shit on the wall. You know what I mean? You can't pass it to your friend, and say, "Yo, check this out."
It's true. I mean, I'm a big Spotify guy myself, because just out of convenience, I'm always in a car. I'm always driving a tractor trailer or something. So, and even in the house, like, okay, Google, play this. And my real stereo. I have like a real stereo, but it's a Bluetooth compatible receiver. And I just, I don't have time to break records out. I got kids running around and stuff, So I keep my records locked up so they don't get like peanut butter all over them,
Yep. And have you got any copies of the vinyl yet?
I did. I don't know. Again, they're locked up because I didn't want the kids to get sticky lollipop fingerprints all over them. But.
Smart. Definitely. Everybody out there in the next weeks to come, I'm gonna have some different samples to show everybody, because I'm actually waiting for mine. Again, I love it. I need the set. You know what I mean? Especially, I love that. Now, like Blackout, like the Triple Bs, they're putting out sets of stuff, which it should be. It's like, yo, this is the, what do you call it? This is the house. This is the everybody who's in the house. This is the arsenal. You know what I mean? So I love, seeing who's in the in the pen, in the bullpen for everybody. So it's like, a Blackout's dropping, then I know it's a Sheer Terror, then you got a Raw Deal, then you got the Kill Your Eye. It's like, okay, there's something to look forward to. You know what I mean? And what better time than the holidays? Yeah. Everybody around the planet, I say it, to support the show, you repost, you like, you comment, and also you support the bands by reposting, by buying the merch, by buying the box set exclusive vinyls that they're dropping on Blackout Records.
Yeah.
This is how we keep this thing going. People got to understand, we give stuff out, like I give food on this to eat. But you got to feed to eat. Everybody got to eat so you got to give to get. You know what I mean? We need everybody to spread the word so we could keep all this music alive, all these cool things that are dropping now. That there's some stuff that us being a young generation and an old generation could still connect with
Yeah.
music. And we don't have to like what's on the vinyl, but still be like, yo, check out how I used to listen to records. Let me check this out. Oh, this is how they look. Wow, they look crazy.
Yeah,
Look how they look now.
I don't know what kids do now, but I know, like, when I was a kid, like I said, the Iron Maiden record with the cover, like,
Exactly.
you know, like I put the record and the sleeve in my you know, like just like the, you know, the sleeve that's inside a 12-inch. I put that on the shelf, and the record cover was on my wall.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to look at it all the time.
For sure. No.
Celtic Frost to Megatherion. I had that fold out with the dude with the cross.
Yeah, my brother, rest in peace. I had that. My mother, rest in peace, also ripped that off the wall. She was like, "Can I have that devil stuff in the room?" Oh, we used to laugh all the time. Shout out to all you mothers and all you mothers that are against the devil, and all you devil-loving brothers out there who did it to. Listen, on the real, listen, congratulations on this. I'm glad I was able to get you on, definitely. And I think it's really great that Long Island is represented. Number one, with the right. I'm glad Blackout is representing like Blackout always did, coming correct, bringing, not trying to do some new shit, but let's bring some classic shit. Let's bring it and let's do it the way we know how to do it. Again, like Blackout was one of those, again, always did it, grassroots, but always showed how the big boys could do it. Look, from the sheer terror stuff, the raw deal, that shit was always top-notch stuff. The layout looks great. I've seen some of the stuff that's coming. I'm excited to see the other layouts and stuff. I'm hoping to get, at the end of this, we might just do one where we're gonna get everybody from the mashup. And fucking, we're gonna have a big one. On the last one, we'll get one butt for everybody, and we're gonna have a battle of the fucking vinyl. Who has the best colored vinyl in the mix? You know what I mean? We're gonna have a poll out there.
Listen, you'd be hard pressed to beat this one because, like I said, Bill covered all his bases with this one.
Boom! Oh shit! Okay,
he got every color, every swirl, every mixture, like even like Cortex has got the yellow. Or maybe no, it's Rev HQ's got the yellow one.
Nice.
It looks like remember the Gorilla Biscuit 7?
Yeah.
Yellow? It's like that. It looks gorgeous.
Listen, everybody, make sure you go get that. You already heard. Look at I when I hear these colors, I'm getting excited. I want it. But listen, blackoutrecords.com. It's out right now. They're about to drop they're already dropping a whole bunch of new stuff. Next week and in the weeks to come, I got more stuff. Right now, you got to go get that Kill Your Idol stuff. When you go there, you tell them the Smoking Word Podcast sent you. I want you to hit a Blackout Records. You tell Bill, Hoya Rock sent you and made you get that color vinyl, that freaking Kill Your Idol, fucking everything swirl vinyl from blackoutrecords.com. Anything you want to let people know before we out of here? Because the world, listen, we have a big following overseas. Shout out to Europe and everybody in South America. Let them know holiday seasons. What's up? What does everybody need to have under their trees, their Kwanzaa trees, or whatever you call them nowadays?
Well, definitely this vinyl, and I want to let everybody know that last I checked, which was yesterday, Kill Your Idols is playing a one and only concert in Europe, the Revolution Calling Fest in Belgium.
That's a great
the one and only appearance in Europe. It's our last show for the year, and we're playing with 7 Seconds, Slapshot, Cocksparrer, all sorts of. It's a big show.
Right fest.
Last I checked, there was only 100 tickets left. So, and that was yesterday. So, I want to thank Martin from Stronger for bringing us over there. I want to thank Cortex for putting out their version of this for us over there.
Always love the Cortex.
I want to let everybody know that we can't wait to come and play over there, and we don't get to do this that often. We reach a point in our life where it's very hard to get together to do this, but music is everything to me. I have a real job, outside of music, but this is all I think about all day long, and I'm still playing in Death Cycle, which is me, Ron, John LaFada, Mike D, that's also in Kill Your Idols, and Paul Delaney, that was in Kill Your Idols and is still in Black Anvil.
Definitely. And And everybody, there's Instagrams. I know there's a lot of Instagrams for those bands and merch. Go follow them. There's plenty of music. This is Strong Island representing. Listen, good looking. I'm glad. Good to catch up. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Long Island, kill your idols. Make sure you go support Blackout Records and support the music scene, the underground music scene, even more than a label. But support the labels and the bands that are still putting this stuff out, because it's not easy. People don't know that we also time, effort, and even money comes out of our own pocket sometimes to make some of these things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know how we do. We like keeping things fresh and sexy. I'm glad you were on. Shout out to all the fellas. Good luck with that show, and keep us updated. Send us an update from Europe, from the Revolution's Calling Fest, and definitely
I will
for sure. Everybody, go get that vinyl right now. You already know the deal. Smoking Word Podcast, Blackout Records, collaboration. Go get that. Kill your idols in the building. We out of here.
Thanks.
Peace. Peace. Peace.